and the greens. With the indigo, the turquoise, the brown, the blues and the pinks. The grays and the black and the white, you gotta feel them in your soul. With the match, the metallic show reflections like the silver and the gold. The reds and the yellows and the orange of the purple and the greens. The indigo, the turquoise, the brown, the blue and in between.
Yes, everyone. Yes, thank you all for joining me. This is Self-Care Wednesdays. Yes, I appreciate you all tuning in with me. Whether it be the day, the night, or any time. I appreciate all of your time. And this Self-Care Wednesdays, today I'm going to be talking about a topic. If you all follow me on my social media, then you would know what I'm talking about today. But however, if not, I'm going to be talking about the pandemic. And now that the vaccine is set to roll out in the U.S., how it is going to affect us and how it is now affecting our mental, and I'm going to talk about what strategies we can do, we can take to combat, all of those feelings that we're feeling inside, I appreciate all of the active listeners and all of the new listeners. I appreciate you all tuning in with me and listening to this Self-Care Wednesdays. Because, just like I said, I always like to, do my Self-Care Wednesdays. I like to, check in with myself in the middle of the week just to see if I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? Just to see if I'm straight. And, you don't have to do that, but that's just something that I've been doing. And, it's really helpful. And this is episode number 65. And I am your host, Regina, and this is the Creative Lips Podcast. I appreciate you all. All right, so now let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. Yes, so I like to start off my episode by talking, just giving, self-affirmations, just words of encouragement for you all out there that is listening to this Self-Care Wednesdays. And before I do that, I like to give a disclaimer. Just a little bit of a disclaimer, basically saying that, my Self-Care Wednesdays are geared towards mental health. Yes, mental health, guys. Yes, mental health. And I am in no way, no shape, no form a licensed psychologist or a licensed therapist, guys. So I just want to put that out there. I just want to let you all know that, these are my own opinions. Yes, my own opinion. And my own research. And also, guys, yes, it is my own experience as well, too. Yes, my own experience. So I just wanted to put that out there and let you all know what's up. You know what I'm saying? And what's going on with my Self-Care Wednesdays. All right, now, so let's get into it right now. As COVID-19 vaccine, as the vaccines roll out here in the U.S., we are all thinking about it, or some of us is, thinking about it. We are, wondering the what ifs, the maybes, or whatever. But right now, as we speak, the COVID-19 vaccine has already rolled out in the UK. Yes, it has. And as soon, as this week, it's there. It's right now. And millions of people over there, and likewise in the US, some have a mental sigh of relief, by hearing that the vaccine has rolled out. But then for some, are very, reluctant about that. So now Pfizer BioNTech is the partner of the coronavirus vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine that has rolled out in the UK. And it was approved for widespread use in the UK. And the UK is the first country in the world to have a vaccine approved, guys. Yes, to have it approved. And it is believed to have, 95% success rate in all age groups it was tested on. Now, this was tested on, guys. Yes, it was. So they want us all to believe now that the world is one step closer to an effective vaccine right now as we speak. Nevertheless, with a limited supply of initial doses, the question becomes to all of us, and even myself, who should get it first? Who should get this vaccine first? As we know that, however, this may change, that in the U.S., the frontline hospital workers, police officers, and some individuals with severe mental illness should maybe, be a priority group to receive COVID-19 vaccine first, guys. That's what they're saying. And of course, people who already have COVID-19 sickness right now, they are, maybe they should be in a top priority to receive this vaccine. Right? So, as shown that patients with underlying physical conditions such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, obesity, and cancer, and the list goes on, are particularly vulnerable to developing more severe illnesses and dying from COVID-19. A recent U.S. case control study with over 61 million adults showed that those recently diagnosed with mental health disorder has significantly increased risk for COVID-19 infection. So, and also, this is what I also learned by doing my research. Pregnant women or those planning to get pregnant within 3 months of the first dose are advised not to get the vaccine, as there is no data as of yet on the safety of COVID-19 vaccines in pregnancy. Yes, that's crazy. And this is also too, what I also found out that also after you get your first dose now, and if you're planning on getting the vaccine from your doctor or wherever, they're saying that after you get your first dose, you yourself will be protected 7 days only. Only 7 days you will be protected. Yes, 7 days. After the second dose, because you have to take 2 doses. Now, after the second dose of the vaccine, as to whether you would spread it, it's unlikely, but they still have no evidence to suggest that you would not spread it. It's too premature right now, because they don't know. They're just now rolling this out and giving it to the general public. You know what I'm saying? And, so it's too premature to be able to address all of the, consequences, precautions at this time, guys. So say like this, you could still get infected, guys, if you give your, a family member or friend or, your grandmother or grandfather who are elderly, who are the older population, if you give someone that is vaccinated a hug, You know what I'm saying? So be wary, of that. Do your research, guys, before you get any vaccine. That's just me. I like to do my own research. That's something that I have always been doing a lot all my life. I like to do my own research because I feel as though that is best for me to learn on my own. You know what I'm saying? It's best for us to learn, so we won't be surprised by the outcome later, guys. So do your own research. Do your own research. Even, by me talking to you and telling you about all of these, precautions and, when they're going to roll the vaccine out and so forth. Just do your own research, because just like I said, this is just my own research from my own experience and my own opinion. You know what I'm saying? So now, now let's get into it. Finally, how can we combat this? So now, as the U.S. awaits their turn for the vaccine, we're waiting. We're waiting on the day when we're going to get the vaccine. My email, I'm telling you guys, just like I said in my previous episode on Are We Here For Mondays, I have been, ever since then, I have been getting flooded of emails in regards to pharmacies in my local neighborhood. They're going to be having the COVID vaccine for us all to take. Now, it's not to say that I know UK, they're going to have it for free. They're going to have it for free for all of the millions of people who are going to take that vaccine. But here in the US, it is still undetermined as to how they're going to issue it out. Right now, the government is in talks as to, how they're going to, issue everything out and how they're going to transport it as well. They're trying to still put together the COVID funding for all of that. They're debating as we speak. From the last I checked, that they are coming into some type of agreement as well in regards to the COVID relief fund for all of us, guys. So we'll see. I'll definitely, really look into that just to see, and then I'll post it on my social media, and I'll be the first to post it on there and let you all know. And as we await this vaccine, as I stated, some have become to grow very skeptical, and then the mental anguish sets in, and some may find their reactions grow worse over time, guys. Yes, your reactions. I know my reactions. I used to have very bad anxiety. It used to be really crazy. Not to the point to where I have anxiety attacks, but my anxiety used to go through the roof, guys. The roof. And, just like I said, it grows worse over time. The COVID-19 pandemic has likely brought many changes to how we all live, on a day-to-day basis. I know me, I had to incorporate a lot of things with just doing, things at home. Far as, learning how to work Pro Tools, and far as with music is concerned, because the studio where I used to go to record my music at the time was shut down at the time, so I haven't checked ever since then. From the last time I heard that they were, social distancing and taking appointments only, and certain people can come at a time to record. But from that point on, I had 9 months. We all had 9 months, guys, to get it together and learn how to adjust and learn how to do things on our own, and not depend on, certain things that we were so used to on a day-to-day basis, and, with those changes, how those many changes has happened in our lives, it also brought uncertainty, uncertainty on a high level, and, just like I said, it altered our daily routines. And then on top of that, with some financial pressures. I know at the beginning, when I got let go on this day of the pandemic, March 13th to be exact, I can remember that, you know what I'm saying? It brought a big pressure on me, but, I made it through. I made it through because I done some of these strategies that I'm going to begin to tell you all. And of course the social isolations. We were isolated from our friends, our loved ones, and so forth. Some may worry about getting sick. Some had that stigma over their head. Oh, am I going to get sick if I touch this, do this? Some went crazy, buying up all the toilet paper, doing all those things that, remember those things that we used to do, at the beginning of the pandemic in April. If they take the vaccination, even if they take it, once the vaccinations are given out, how long will it take for the pandemic to go away? You know what I'm saying? Some of those questions, we have those questions that, we want to know, and other questions arise. If, we don't get vaccinated, will we lose our job? And what more will the future bring? Like life after the vaccine rollout? Like, how will it be? It then becomes information overload. Our brain just becomes so overloaded and fried, with all of this information. And then the rumors and misinformation can make your life feel out of control, guys. Yes, out of control. And then it makes it unclear on what do we do? How do we control our emotions? So let's get into some of the strategies. I'm going to talk briefly about the self-care strategies that are good for your mental and physical health during this pandemic. How can you take charge and take back your life? What do we do? How do we do it? Now, each of us is in a different situation. Now, we have different situations on a day-to-day basis, or whatever's going on in your life. Only you know what's going on, and our experience and circumstances vary, a lot. It may be helpful to first identify what is bothering you. The most thing that is bothering you. We have to really identify that, as opposed to trying to tackle with the pandemic as a whole. And preventing long-term mental health issues is to allow yourself to fully experience your uncomfortable emotions. We have to look at the whole big picture. We have to experience those emotions and sit in them. Overwhelming as they may feel right now at the moment, like, oh my God, this vaccine, oh my God, it's going to turn me in blue. You know what I'm saying? It's going to make me twitch or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Forget about that. It is important to remain aware of your situation. What's going on in your life? How are you feeling? Are you healthy? Do you have COVID? What's going on in your life? And if you do know someone that has COVID, we need to be aware of the situation. And if you feel frightened, for yourself or for your loved ones or whatever, give yourself permission to feel that. You have to feel those emotions. You have to sit in it because these are human. We are all human to feel that. We're all human to cry, to scream, to whatever. They need to be out and in the open. You can allow yourself to sit with uncomfortable feelings of being anxious, lonely, and fearful, and be compassionate to yourself once you're done. in that moment. Now these strategies that strategy can really work for you if you push yourself to do it. You can really try your best to do it. And if you can't, just take your time and ease yourself into it. Now, another strategy that you can do, you can control your exposures. And, of course, and limit yourself to the number of times that you watch the news, or, social media. Limit those hours, limit the time. Now, remember, at the beginning of this pandemic, y'all, remember it was on every freaking day, guys. You know what I'm saying? It was on every freaking day, every freaking channel, and social media as well. All those social media related stuff about the pandemic, too. My suggestion, this is just my suggestion, and this is what I did. I limit my time to no more than 1 hour per day. If I needed to look at it, 1 hour per day, or one newscast, or altogether, like eventually what I did, none at all. I just limit my time to just nothing at all, and just spent time with myself. Because I had to give my mind a break, from what I was processing. Because it was new to all of us, this pandemic. Some of us knew that it was coming. Some of us predicted it, like you had some conspiracy theorists, but then you had some that knew that it was going to be some type of, outbreak, some pandemic, some very crazy stuff that was going to happen this year. Some people thought that this year was my year, 2020, and it still is your year. It still is your year, because this year you got to know thyself. You know what I'm saying? You got to know yourself, guys. You know what I'm saying? You got to spend time with yourself and grow and learn from it. We never have felt this way. We never have been through any type of thing like this. So, you know how when we go into certain spaces or wherever, we have to wear a mask. And you also know too that we have to get our temperature taken. By that, I hate that. I really do. I really hate getting my temperature taken. But think about that. You get your temperature taken to see your fever. Well, we need to take our mental health temperature, guys. We need to sit down and take our mental health temperature on a daily basis. During this COVID-19 pandemic, we really have to do that. Because the constant reminders and exposures perpetuate uncertainty. Yes, it does. Because if those things, if we just really keep on digging our brain and putting our mind through all of those things, it's going to lead more to unnecessary stress, guys. Unnecessary stress that we don't need at all. We have to take the time to combat, control our mind and body constantly, guys. Constantly, guys, on a daily basis. We have to do that, And another strategy that we can do, we can practice mindfulness. Don't have our mind full of shit. You know what I'm saying? Practice our mind full of positive affirmations. You know what I'm saying? This can be as simple as just a 3 to 5 minute meditation each morning or night or both. If you can do it. Mindfulness meditation early in the day can lower levels of stress hormones, cortisol. Yes, it can. Which fuels the fight or flight. The fight or flight instinct, y'all. Now, when it is most elevated, we need to do that right away. We really need to take our time out and do that right away. Because mindfulness, if we do that meditation and take time out, take that moment out and digress and just, sit with ourselves. Because it quiets our mind. It quiets us down in the areas of our brain that are overly active and constantly firing out those negative, those negative thoughts, those negative feelings over time if we do that. So it can do wonders for you all. I'm telling you, I do this. This is just my own opinion. But if you can do this, it can give wonders. It can just bring you joy and peace in your mind. If you can try to practice it, and be consistent on a daily basis, guys. Yes, try to do this, guys. And another strategy is to do something that you enjoy. Do something that you feel that makes you happy, I'm doing this. This which makes, me happy. I love doing podcasting. I love talking to you guys. I really do. I love talking to you all. I really do. I enjoy, sharing my own experience, because you never know, it could help someone, or you could be listening to this and you can just, hey, listen to this episode. This might help you along the way, along your journey. Find positive outlets and ways to unwind, guys. Yes. Find them. You can do anything. You can watch movies. If you don't watch TV, you can be, learn to cook a new dish, reading a good book, or reading something that can, work your brain, work your mind. You can learn a new language. You can run, take a jog, hike, listen to some music. I love doing that. That's my thing. My thing is I love finding new artists, like underground indie artists. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I love to do. I've been doing that for years, and that's my pastime. I enjoy doing those things. Find something that you enjoy that fills your soul. That makes you happy, that makes you feel whole. It makes you feel complete, so that when you get ready to lay down, before you get ready to lay down, you'll feel good. Finding something that allows you to decompress and not dwell on the current events, like everything that is going on in the world, is what matters the most if you can do it. So try your best to do it, guys. All right. And another strategy that I did, I still do this. I love doing this. I love keeping a daily journal. I talked about this a lot on my Self-Care Wednesdays. I love writing. That's something that I love to do. And even if I can't sleep, if I just wake up, I just get up and I just start writing, or I'll type into the notes in my phone. I love keeping a daily journal and writing down the events of the day or how I'm feeling, because it helps you to process them better. I like doing that because I like going back like months later and reading what I wrote, and I'll be like, damn, I wrote that, or wow, I wrote that. I can incorporate that in a song. You know what I'm saying? So I really love doing that. It really helps, because I have also too, another thing you can do is I have a designated area, a place where there are minimal, no sound, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just the white noise. I love white noise. I, have my fans running because, I get hot. You know what I'm saying? But I like the white noise and just no distractions. Sometimes I write a little bit, and then sometimes I write as much as needed. You can do that too as well. About your day, about how you're feeling, your emotions, everything, or what you want to do, your goals. You can probably have a to-do list. Another thing, you could just sit down and write, out all the things that you want to accomplish in your life, guys. Yes, in your life. You can try to do that too. Because there is no judgment, when you're doing that alone. There's nobody there to tell you what you writing, what you doing. Let me see. You know what I'm saying? There's no judgment. Ideally you can do this like, in a couple of days. That's what I do. Every other day, or if you feel inclined to do it, you can do it every day. You know what I'm saying? If whatever you feel in your heart and in your soul, whatever helps you to get through, whatever you want to write about. All right. And last but not least, this is another strategy. This is the last strategy that I did. There's so many strategies that I've done this throughout this pandemic and throughout my life. But last but not least, try to get some sleep, guys. Try to get that adequate sleep on a day-to-day basis, on a daily basis. Try to get that sleep. Push yourself to do it. Because sticking to a sleep schedule, I talked about this before. If you stick to a strict sleep schedule, it helps to reset your body's clock and supports falling and staying asleep. If you do that, it helps you fall asleep. Like people say, I can't go to sleep. But if you do that, it helps it. It really does. Because it's training your body and your mind to say, hey, it's time to go to sleep. You hear sometimes people say, look, it's past my bedtime. You know what I'm saying? They say it's past my bedtime, look. Or you'll see them over there, the people, they always talk about who go out to the clubs or whatever. You see them, oh, look, they over there falling asleep. They know that their bedtime is 9 o'clock. Look at them over there falling asleep. You know what I'm saying? Yes. They resetted their body's clock. So they know that it's time to go to sleep, guys. Yes, time to go to sleep. Consistent bedtime routines increases predictability and control. It does that as well. And, another thing that you can try to do, I know some people like to have that wine at night, you know what I'm saying? Like nightcap or whatever. It's also good to try to avoid alcohol and caffeine before bed, but I also read somewhere too that if you are tired throughout the day, you can drink a cup of coffee and then take a nap. And people say, how can you drink a cup of coffee and you getting ready to take a nap? Wouldn't that keep you awake? They said no, because what happens is the caffeine, over time, it goes throughout your bloodstream. They said it takes 20 minutes to go throughout your bloodstream, so that when you're taking that nap, about time you wake up from that nap, you'll be refreshed and you'll be energized even more. It gives you like a boost. So, I don't know. I guess to each his own. Some say avoid it, some say take it. Whatever it is, you only know your body. You only know what your body can tolerate before you go to bed. And focus on positive, calming thoughts too. That would help as well. Before you go to bed, like, the meditation thing too, you can do that too as well. And just like I said, I always like to watch something funny. I love watching funny stuff. Like I laugh. My laugh, I'm telling you, if you were to get to know me, my laugh is crazy. I have like a funny, loud laugh. Like especially if something is really, really funny. Like my laugh is crazy. I love watching funny stuff before I go to bed because it helps me. It helps me so that when I wake up, I feel good. And then I always think about what I watched last night, because then it'll just be drumming in my mind, and then I just be like, yo, I remember that. And you can also try to end the day with those clear boundaries, like clear everything out off your bed and around you, and have the boundaries too as well, that you're going to stick to it. Put away all your electronic devices. Don't sleep with them right beside your bed, and end your day. Just end it out with a bang, with a peaceful bang. You know what I'm saying? With a peaceful bang. And if you are struggling with your reactions to all of what is going on out there, guys, with everything, that you see, it's crazy, and it's very eye-opening. It's very interesting to me just to see all of this going. It's crazy, and if things grow even worse, support is always available for you. Support is always out there. If you may want to speak to someone, you can seek that support that you need from a psychologist or other mental health provider. So if feelings of sadness or other emotions are too much to manage on your own, it is important to reach out for help, guys. Counseling or formal treatment can be an essential part of reassuring full and a rewarding life. The stigma around getting help, it really needs to end. Some people say, I don't need to talk to nobody. That really needs to end. Because sometimes we really need to reach out for help. Because when those stakes are high, and, no one should struggle alone. You shouldn't struggle alone. There are qualified professionals out there that are available to help you when needed. So go and seek this help if you need it, guys. Go and seek it. All right. All right. Now to the number one tip. Yes, the number one tip that I got from out of all this is that it is important not to judge yourself. If you are having a hard time or feeling stressed, it is natural to feel that way, y'all. It is. It's natural to feel those emotions. We are facing a global pandemic, guys. Yes, a global pandemic. This is happening all over the world. Not just in your home, all over the world. That has disrupted all of our lives. These practices that I mentioned manage stress. Yes, they do. These strategies, they do manage stress. And the reactions in the moment can be critical. We need to work extra hard to manage our emotions well throughout our entire lives, even after this pandemic, even after it's said and done, or whenever they say it's said and done. We need to keep on practicing these. We need to work hard, make an effort to do these things. That's the point of us staying home. We got to learn ourselves, and work through it. So remember that our activities, thoughts, and mood are closely linked. If you want to change your mood, change your activities and your thoughts. Be extra kind to yourself, okay? Be extra kind. Take time with yourself, all right? We are all in this together. Just like I said, it's happening all over the world. We're all in this together. Love yourself. Take that self-care for yourself, guys. And we may all emerge. You never know. We may all emerge renewed, and appreciation for our togetherness. You know what I'm saying? Once all this is said and done. We don't know when this is all said and done until they say when it's said and done, or whatever the case may be. So helping others and helping yourself too in the need is very, very critical to get through this in the end and in a well frame of mind. And also creates more purpose to our days and well-being, guys. Yes. Yes, guys. Yes, guys. Yes, it does. All right, guys. Now, there you have it. Yes, there you have it. I definitely hope that, this episode helps you. Any of the strategies that I have mentioned, maybe 1, 2, 3, or all of them, guys, I hope that they help you, or you can listen to this and it could help someone else. You never know, but I really appreciate you all for listening to this Self-Care Wednesdays. Yes, thank you all for tuning in. And, as time progresses, I hope and pray that, we all will make light out of this situation. We will all get through this. We will make it through this. We will. Life is full, of different colors, different colors, and we just need to pick the favorite color that we like, which my favorite color is green, and it's the heart chakra. And, all we need is love. Love yourself, love one another, and we will get through this, guys. All right? All right, guys. Yes, this is episode number 64. Yes, I appreciate you all once again for tuning in with me. And just like I said, follow me on all of my social media, guys. Yes, follow me on Instagram at CreativeLipsPodcast. Yes, follow me on Instagram. And also, leave me that 5-star rating and leave me a review. Come on, guys, support a sister. Yes. And also follow me on Twitter, because you want to know what, guys? I post stuff there too. Yes. Until next time.
I don't treat these people like they mean me well until I hear it from the colors, cause it's hard to tell until I hear it from the colors themselves. The colors be the code to the truth that I'm eyeing, and play me on the grayscale, see if I'm lying. This is the colors and the yellows and the orange of the purple and the greens. With the indigo, the turquoise, the brown, the blues and the pinks. The grays and the black and the white, you gotta feel them in your soul. With the mask of metallic show reflections like the silver and the gold. The reds and the yellows and the orange of the...
You are now listening to episode 65 of the Creative Lips Podcast.